in a world crying out for a top 10 show. John Roca and Matt Nost are here to bring you the top 10. Take it away, boys. Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition. Oh, I always forget. Is it edition or episode?
I think it's whatever you want to be.
All right, welcome.
I don't think there's a set answer.
Welcome to everyone to this week's episode of the Top 10 Show. I am John Roca.
I am Matt Nost. I mean, we are the only two people that define what this is.
Yes.
So you can call
point.
it whatever you like because you're 50% of that.
Thank you so much.
I'm just saying, you have as much right. Anybody else, fuck off. Just because maybe your suggestion is good, a la Topic Thunder, and we love it.
Yes.
But, ultimately, we fucking rubber stamp whatever comes across this desk.
It's very, very true. Nothing gets past it without both stamps being on it, that's for sure.
Exactly.
And we're doing this at my place this week. Last week we were at Matt's new, or relatively new place, which was great with all the incredible views. This is more of a laid-back situation. I don't get as many mountain views of the world as you do, but, it's all right. It's a chill place. I'm cool with it here.
Yeah, but you also don't have the homeless.
Oh, my God.
There's a trade-off.
Yes, there is.
And my street isn't even as bad as like a street and a half over. And it's bad.
Really?
Well, it's just, it's a common place. There's a bunch of dumpsters. There's a homeless problem in this city. For those listening across the world that don't know,
right?
LA's got a serious homeless problem.
It's become so much worse over the last 10 years.
Oh, without a doubt.
And it's like you used to be able to call the cops and they'd move people along. Now they don't have the resources to do it.
Well, there's too many.
Right.
There's too many.
Yeah.
They opened up like mental health hospitals and just released a whole ton of people. There was my next door neighbor, the lady that owned the property, sold the house. So it was a guy that had been living there, and his partner died like 7 years ago. But they'd been together for 20 years or something. And when he died, he told him, he's like, I'm leaving you the house. But there's nothing in writing. So it went to his sister, and his sister let him chill there for a long time rent-free.
Right.
It's like 6-7 years, and eventually she's like, I have to sell this place.
Right.
So the cops thought that there might be a problem with him leaving. So they showed up, and he'd left before them, but he did kind of trash the place, I guess, a little bit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's this koi pond, and the house was so decrepit, but it had these gorgeous little tiny things here and there. You could tell this thing used to be just a 10 of a house.
Yeah.
And it's, in 20-something years, how much they invest into it, especially him the past 7.
Right.
But there's all these koi, and the owner told me he stole, I don't know if this is true or not, but $20,000 in koi fish. I was like, koi fish are expensive. Especially,
I guess so.
Well, because they live for so long, and once they get to a certain size, it'd be like, dude, I got 60 years left with this thing. They can live, I believe, to 100 years old. So they're expensive, and they're, you pay for the colors, and certain colors are worth way more than others because of the rarity or whatnot.
Yeah.
And all that shit. And, but anyway, so I was talking to the cops, and they were like, hey, if you have any homeless problems, and we've had, just a couple random issues. Nothing serious. And then that's when they told me, it's like, yeah, the mental hospitals, they kind of just released them onto the streets about 2-3 years ago. And that's why you saw the dramatic jump.
Yeah.
And now they've reduced regulations. You can defecate in the streets and steal anything under like $990 some odd dollars or $970 some odd dollars.
Really?
Is now a misdemeanor.
What?
Because there's too much theft and we can't just put them back in.
Right.
So now homeless people know that they can go in and steal $900 and some odd dollars worth of stuff.
Jesus.
And it's just a slap on the wrist.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like, holy shit. Well, how is this not going to lead to crime, guys?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Or drug use or God knows what else.
Like
Jesus.
Catherine's window in her car got broken and they just stole an empty suitcase.
What?
So there's
wow.
My neighborhood used to have a ton of Airbnbs. So they just got used to, I guess, patrolling the streets and looking for any kind of suitcase.
Right.
But now with the new laws, there's only, I think, 2 on my street that I know of.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, where I used to live over there by the Beverly Center, not Beverly, over by the Grove. It was just starting to get bad when Lindley moved us out. Like, she was like, honey, I can't keep coming to stay here. Like we gotta get out, and that's why we ended up moving where we moved, because she sensed that it was getting worse around that area. And the other day I was driving through that area, and there is like full on tent cities,
without a doubt,
on the streets by in the alleys and all this kind. I was like, yeah, no, I wouldn't have been able to survive that. It's just not my jam. And I got nothing against the homeless, right? It's a terrible situation, but
it is.
It's a weird place for me to be in, because like, and I feel like, what kind of life is that? What kind of existence is that? And so I wonder what's our responsibility to that kind of a situation, right? I mean, a horse breaks
euthanasia.
Yeah,
I think is our
that's what
euthanasia.
I'm just saying, when a horse breaks its leg, you shoot it in there, right? So to me, I'm like, these are human beings that are.
You're saying it's untapped glue potential from these people walking the streets, is what you're saying.
I'm not.
Oh man, how can we corner that market?
That's the next step.
So there's gorilla glue and this is bum glue. Oh, dude, we can make a killing.
Bum glue. We've been so much sure of a bum glue.
Well, bum fights was fun.
Oh, there was that thing, yeah.
I never technically saw it. I saw like a clip or two.
Yeah.
And totally understood the market. Like I saw Faces of Death, one of those.
Oh, yeah.
But I never watched one beyond that.
Right. Well, I never saw any of the bum fights. But for me, it's more like, is it a humane thing to do? Because, like, it's a terrible existence. You're dumpster diving. You don't shower. You smell. You get exposed to all these illnesses and sicknesses.
Yeah.
What kind of existence is this? And so you wonder: is the humane thing to do to, kind of end these people's lives for them, so that they don't become a burden on society, become a burden on themselves and other people? I just wonder about it. And it's not a matter of being mean or cruel or being. I'm not talking about the dad who just lost his job and is with his kids. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who are mentally irregular and never going to get the help they need because it's a chemical thing and they can't afford the medicine, and we can't afford to house them or get them better. So to me, it's like, well, we have to at some point make the hard decisions as human beings to survive. We do it with animals. Why can't we do it with humans? What, because they can speak? That just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I think the more humane approach.
Yeah.
My this is just a random idea, but you know how those people turn shipping containers into small homes?
Yeah.
Buy a shit ton of that, make a planned community somewhere out east or whatnot, where the land is cheaper, and build a city with running plumbing and electricity, and you give them food, you give them a free place to live, and make it illegal until they can find their own apartment.
Okay.
You can't live anywhere else. You can't live on the streets.
Right.
You can't live you have to live in one of these. We'll give you a place to, all the amenities you need, a bed, running water, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You need to go out. You have to live here until you can pay for somewhere else.
Right.
I would be happy to pay a nickel extra on sales tax.
Oh, sure.
For everything I spend. Doesn't matter where it is in the city. There's just a nickel across the board. Great. Because then we're not paying for, the fear of coronavirus. But we already had Black Plague.
Yeah.
Was that a year ago?
Yeah.
There was...
Did it come back?
Yeah. But... you get all these people into small areas, and they're allowed to defecate in the streets, and they don't bathe themselves, and they're eating from those same areas. It's just going to lead to a really disgusting virus that is going to take out who knows how many people.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it's 500.
Right.
It's,
and so
it's a crazy number.
Exactly.
For something that's so easily preventable.
For all our kumbaya shit, it could end up killing people if we don't do something. And that's the thing at the end of the day is it drives me nuts sometimes. If we don't have the resources, we have to deal with reality. Some people deal with the pie in the sky possibilities and shit, but what's the reality? The reality is this is a tough situation that's going on in the world and in a number of cities. And you're like, well, what's the next step? And yes, these people have families, but I mean, where are these? If these families are reaching out, can't help them, can't save them, can't whatever, then this is the next option. And I don't think it's inhumane necessarily. I agree with you. That's the more humane option. If we could put that in motion, absolutely, 1,000%. I'll put that extra nickel or 10 cents, whatever. But if we can't put that in motion, then
we're not.
Right.
That's pie in the sky. That's never. It's never going to happen because some people are going to look at it as like socialism.
Right.
Like it's for the
my
greater
money's
good.
not going to lazy people or whatever
exactly
stupid things.
Like
they come
it's
up
fine. Your money is going to not dying.
Right.
Which is why we all pay for water collectively, and insurance is. Not insurance, but electricity is a monopoly, but it's one we need.
Yeah.
Type of thing. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? It's a hell of a problem, though, man. Those tent cities.
Yeah.
Like if you ever drive downtown, I may leave here and hit up somewhere downtown on my way home. I got to make a couple stops.
Yeah.
But I already know the area I'm going into, and it's just like, dude, it's certain streets,
Yeah.
it's tent city for 2 blocks.
Yep.
2 blocks. And if you ever walk through it, which I have, it just reeks of
Yeah.
the worst, most noxious smells.
It's terrible.
I had a friend that had a warehouse down there, man, and I went down one time. He since ended that business.
Yeah.
But I went down there and I was like, dude, this is brutal. They had a gate, like a security gate with cameras and whatnot,
Yeah.
just for fear of people jumping over to try and rifle through his, shit.
Yeah.
And they're looking for whatever homeless people are looking for. Yeah, it's brutal, man.
Yeah. I mean, when I used to do print as an on-camera actor, one of the places you go to audition is down on Cole, and Cole downtown is where like the main homeless shelter is, and so you see these tent cities just like for blocks. And I remember parking, and I had to walk through that kind of shit. And the third time it happened, or third or fourth time, I called my agent. I said, I don't care how much the buyout is. I don't give a shit how much I could make off this print advertising. I never want you to send me to audition in that place again. I told him I don't care. And if you drop me, drop me. I don't give a shit. I'll find another agent. I just won't ever go back down there because, I mean, I grew up poor. I know what that's like to
Sure.
be struggling to pay bills. We didn't have a car for the first 2 years. We were alive, or I was alive rather. So I get it. I know what it's like to struggle and be in those confined spaces. I get it. But going and seeing that kind of stuff reminds me of where I don't want to go back to. And so that was my own personal thing. It wasn't judgment on those people for trying to live the way they're trying to live. It was more for me like being like, I can't be around this shit because it just messes with me emotionally, or mentally. So we'll see.
I don't know. It makes you feel bad. It's a reflection of society. This is what we do to our weakest.
Yeah.
We just let them wallow on the streets. Like, guys, come on.
Yeah.
For all the shit that we subsidize,
Yeah.
take a fraction of a percent off the military's budget.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not asking for a full percentage point.
Right.
I'm just saying, give me, 5% of that.
Yeah.
Like 0.05 is what I want. And that could alleviate most, homeless problems. Or
Oh,
at least
yeah.
start addressing legitimately across all the major cities.
Right.
Right there, done.
It's the greatest fallacy. These companies make so much money off the military industrial complex.
Oh, yeah.
And they do it because they're trying to essentially rape the government for as much as possible. And if the government really gave a shit and really hunkered down with this kind of crap, they would cut those profits of those businesses in half. And that money could totally go to fund helping people and
Well,
getting them out of situations and whatever.
Yeah, but then we're not going to have money to pay all these shadow contractors to do our foreign policy without officially having to ask Congress, hey, will you? And I'm not even talking about this president.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of presidents in
Yes,
a row.
true.
Slowly but surely, we just engaged this police action. And you're
Yeah.
like, wait a second, guys. You're sending a military force, and now we just have somebody, they're all ex-military, basically criminal warriors.
Yeah.
That's what they are. They're just like, we trained them, and now they're looking for jobs. We're happy to pay because unofficially, we have nothing to do with this.
Yeah. I guess you're right. It's that kind of
Yeah,
stuff's probably
that cuts into that.
right.
And
But
then
there has to be a way to shit. I mean, I think that would scare the shit out of everybody. So the president comes in there and goes, "No, we're spending way too much," and just starts cutting.
There's too
senators
much-
would lose their freaking minds, man.
Yeah, there's too much power. On
Yep.
that side.
Yep, it's too much power.
It is. It's steamrolled to a degree that, dude, they make an insane amount of money. You cannot. I mean, it is going to be insanely difficult to take that away.
Right.
Good luck to you, Bernie. If you get the Democratic side, even if you win, dude, his plans, when you watch it, you're like, how are we going to pay for this exactly?
Yeah.
Well, it's great when you read it, and then you see his projected budget over the next 10 years, and you're like, you want to add how many trillions?
Yeah.
How are we going to pay for this, man?
Right.
I agree these are things that happen. Maybe we should figure out somewhere in the budget and redirect those resources before we just start tacking on extra dollars.
Yeah,
man.
I got a feeling we got a few more.
I know it goes every which way.
Yeah, a few more debates before we figure this all out.
Yeah,
For sure.
who knows where we're gonna? I didn't even know who Klobuchar was until very recently.
Yeah.
So
All of a sudden, she's
well,
now.
I haven't watched any of them. Usually, I like the debates on both sides leading
totally.
up.
Yeah.
But now, as the cornucopia of candidates go out there and they have to have debates across 2 nights. I'm sorry, this isn't a real discussion until we get rid of 6 of 7, 8 of these people.
Yeah, we're down to what, 10, 9 or 10 right now.
Yeah, but there's 3 to 4 that have a shot.
Yeah, exactly. And really, right now, 3 to 4. You're absolutely right, man. It's like what you see right now is Sanders, Biden, possibly Buttigieg and Klobuchar, and then Warren somewhere in the back there, somewhere doing something. Because Yang just dropped out. Kamala Harris has dropped out. So who knows? Who knows where it's Tom Steyer? And then Bloomberg's rolling in here going like, fuck it, I'm going to mess some shit up.
Yeah, well, he's starting fights with Donnie on Twitter.
I love it.
Don called him short, and he was like, listen, man, I know a bunch of elites in New York. They're behind your back, talk so much shit about you, it's not even funny. And that is the best cut down to him. I love it. He is genuinely, I think, afraid of Bloomberg.
Oh, of course.
In that they've existed in the same circles for a long time, so there's a distinct pecking order between the two of them. Whereas Trump can come in big league, Sanders or Buttigieg or anything else, Bloomberg's had decades built up of,
Bloomberg's old money.
Succeeding.
Or new money.
Yeah, he's new money. He built his own.
Yeah, he don't give a shit.
Yeah, and he brought that in. It's like everybody knows you inherited your money and squandered it on a bunch of terrible business ideas. And you're like, dude, this dude knows them. This stop from frisk policy is kind of difficult. I agree.
Yeah.
It's just like Catherine, this is the first year that she's actually been engaged in the presidential discourse.
Right.
And I've always loved it. It's interesting to see how things end up the way they do. Right?
Of course.
And she was like, early on, she didn't like Biden. And I was like, well, the problem with Biden is there's no one big glaring flaw. It's 15 million.
Yeah, little weird moments.
Yeah, all these little tiny. Hey, buddy. Yeah. Hey, buddy.
He's your favorite uncle, but your favorite uncle that's done some questionable stuff.
And you can't give too many whiskeys to.
Yeah, right.
Or he is going to say something or be inappropriate with someone.
Yeah, be inappropriate.
That's the problem with Biden. It's like, he looks nice enough.
Yeah.
And then Buttigieg investing in, or was he the Shadow Inc.? Wasn't he investor in that? Yeah. Which great name. I know, it just keeps going deeper and deeper.
It does. All around, nobody's clean. That's why I think if it ends up Bloomberg and Trump, it'll be a burn book fight between two teenage girls. It's really nuts.
Let's start our own voting app or something. Just call it the Fixer.
Oh yeah.
Just like Shadow Inc. and be like, guys, we fix all your problems. That's our public spin, but privately,
we take care of it.
We can access these voting machines that shouldn't be connected to the internet.
That's right.
And we can influence any outcome we like.
Dude, it's going to be nuts. When the voting starts happening in November, it's just going to be hairy, dude.
I want to go back to a system where we raise hands or some shit. You know what I mean? You have to physically go in there and be like, that way we can visually, this dude definitely did.
Count the numbers, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but you all didn't tune in for political talk.
Nope.
You tuned in to listen to us count down a new list this week. And this week, because Emma is coming out, a remake of the Jane Austen novel, another film remake. Of course, there was one with Gwyneth Paltrow back in the 90s. And, of course, Clueless is a loose interpretation of Emma. And I suppose there were a couple other ones that have come.
There has to be.
Right.
There's probably 3 BBC movie versions.
Yeah, or miniseries versions. Sure.
There's within this choice, we should have Lindley and Catherine on because they could probably do their own separate list. Because all those movies are off my radar.
Very true.
Going through, and I was like, I haven't seen 75% of what Keira Knightley's done, apparently, in the past 10 years. I mean, it's just one after another. I remember when that came out. I'm not watching that.
Yeah.
I watched a couple for this list, knowing in the build-up to, and be like, maybe fill out. Because I have a chunk, but there's why not reach outside of and try and grab all these other little random things.
Yeah.
The Atonements of the World and the whatnot did not make my list.
Yeah. Some of them made my list. Some of them didn't. I texted you. I was like, "Do we include World War II as period?" And you were like, "We never designated it." So I kept it as wide open as possible. Anything that's in the past, and is British or English to me, that's where I kind of gravitated to.
Yeah, you could easily do, and you may have one from the 70s or 80s and call it a period because it's but. These others specifically went back and tried to recreate.
Yes.
So that to me is they're trying to bring the period to life, so those rang truer.
Right.
By and large.
Yeah. I saw it last night. I think it was a really well done film.
Okay.
I would say that it's an independent, quietly subtle film. It's way different than the one from the 90s with Paltrow, but I still enjoyed it nonetheless. And so there we go. All right. Do you want to tell people how this thing happens, Matt?
Once we set a topic, we go our individual ways and create personal top 10 lists. Show back up here. I do my bottom 3. He does his bottom 3. I do my next 2. He does his next 2. Then we trade one apiece. Once we have revealed our personal top 10 list, we create the shows between the two of us.
Boom! That was good.
All right, so we'll just get into this.
Let's dive into this.
At 10, I got Gosford Park.
Okay. I haven't seen that, or I never saw that one. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I think it really gave me the earliest, clearest understanding of what upstairs downstairs was. I had seen other versions of, but this is such a distinct polarization, and you see the interaction and how I think it's Ryan Phillippe is playing a valet, but he doesn't really seem to know what he does, and it turns out that he's an actor later on.
Yeah.
So then there's the intrigue of the staff is now concerned that he might tell the producer that he, is rolling with.
Right.
I think it was Phillippe.
It is Ryan Phillippe. Yeah.
Yeah. That all the gossip that they had downstairs, because you can already see it's the intrigue of the lives upstairs, but you rarely, to me at least at that point, I hadn't seen many where all the fluid interactions are kind of possible.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's interesting. And the back and forth of it was a, murder mystery, not like Knives Out, but person dies and then just who actually did it, and you have to kind of go back through a little bit, but it's just the interactions and the social strata,
right? And
I enjoy those. It's why when she asked me if I want to watch Downton Abbey way back, I was like, yeah, I like upstairs downstairs, as long as it's good, because it's enough individuals that you can latch onto and find personal storylines. So even if you're like, this one's okay, well, these 2, 3, 4, 5 other over here, you thoroughly enjoy. So they dance around so much, it doesn't really matter.
Did Albin direct this one?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I know Kristen Scott Thomas is in it. And
Clive Owen.
Okay.
Is Margaret Smith in this?
Maybe.
Trying to think who else.
Let's see. There's a number of people. I know there's a number of people because
it's a huge cast.
Essentially a who's who of English at the time.
Early 2000s.
Yeah. Yeah. Maggie Smith, Michael Gambone's in this thing. Yeah, Charles Dance. Wow. Jeremy Northam was Bob Balaban's in this thing for some insane reason.
Hell yeah.
Stephen Fry, of course. Kelly MacDonald, Clive Owen. Helen Mirren's in this. Wow. Emily Watson. All right, my bad, dude. I guess I should watch this. Jesus Christ. Richard E. Grant.
Yeah, Tom Hollander.
Wow. Look at all these people. All right, maybe I should watch it. All right, fair point.
It's 10 because I haven't seen it in a couple of years.
Yeah.
And all these others I have seen or seen a few times. And since I saw that last one, I was like, I know I like that one.
Right.
And of all the possible options, upstairs, downstairs is a British invention to me.
Yeah.
Could have been something outside of that, but I only know it through them. So it's like, I like that convention as a storytelling element.
Yeah.
So 9 for me is Stan and Ollie.
Oh, great choice, man. I like that movie.
Surprisingly good.
Yes.
About Laurel and Hardy. Mm-hmm. And it's John C. Reilly and Steve Coogan.
Yes, Steve Coogan.
And it starts with them in Hollywood and just like, they're talking about their last picture and they're having a contract negotiation in essence. Yeah. And it ends up that they split up. So the movie jumps to 16 years later when they're going back on the road and they're trying to line up funding for shooting a new movie, Robin Hood takeoff. But it's the interactions between the two of them. And I was so engaged when they go for the same types of laughs within the reality of the movie of them just interacting. Like they're going up some stairs with a big steamer trunk and they get to the top and you can see the joke coming and it's still so perfectly executed and it's a gorgeous nod to the original style. And it's just the amount of care that went into that. And it still got me to laugh watching their routine.
Yeah.
Like not die laughing, but just like smile and a little chuckle to myself that it still has the effect all these years later. They really brought those two individuals to life and you could, in the end, they're like on this ship over to Ireland.
Yeah.
And basically they just come to the realization between the two of them of what their friendship is and what it's meant and the trials and tribulations that they went through. Mm-hmm. I remember when there was Oscar buzz for them. I saw it afterwards. Yeah. Like after award season. It seems deserved.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If any one of them were nominated, it would have been fine. I thought they both did incredible work. And Coogan, when he does drama, he's actually damn good at it.
Well, in my head, of the two to get nominated, I would have nominated Coogan.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Nothing against Riley.
Right. Yeah, he does a nice job. He wears the fat suit, obviously, to be Stan Laurel, and I think isn't. No, yeah, right. And so Hardy, no,
he's Oliver Hardy. Ollie.
Right. Oh, sorry, Hardy. Yeah, Oliver Hardy. He's big, but it all works. And then the stuff with the wives is very interesting too, like the different dynamics in their relationships and how each one is trying to support her husband as he has his feelings about the other one. That kind of stuff. It's so interesting to watch. And they have their issues, they have their things. He's like, you're pushing me, but we got to do this, we got to do that, and then where it all comes down to, and that eventually they have that moment on the ship, and you're just like, yeah, that's what happens after a while. It's just like kind of thing. When you're tied to someone, I imagine imagine for like 30 or 40 years, there's so much that gets, kind of glossed over, and you have the occasional spikes, and then back to figuring out, well, in the long run, it was better that we were able to do that together, So, and you see that in the film. I love that.
And on the boat, well, I guess I won't say that part because go see it. It's not like a spoiler or anything, but it helps you with the understanding of the arc where they close out.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take that away from anybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got a nice build.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to see the backstory on, because I watch The Stooges and Abbott Costello occasionally.
Okay.
Laurel and Hardy.
Okay.
Occasionally.
Yeah.
But mine were, the other two.
Right.
And I watched a ton of those, and I've seen, Chaplin and Buster Keaton.
Right.
But from this, I didn't know that Laurel was in a team with Chaplin for a short time.
Yeah. That's
I had
how
no
he
idea.
started out. Yeah.
He's a singular entity to me.
I think he's in the Chaplin movie, a character. I think Stan Laurel is in the Chaplin movie early
the
on.
Downey?
Yeah, the Downey Jr. one,
God,
on. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, no, trust me, I get that at all. But I do like that this is a film that deals with them later, right? It's not their ascent to stardom. It's right on the tail end of their stardom, and trying to resuscitate it a little bit one more time. And they're playing for not sold out theaters, so it's like that transition back into where they started, which is the build up. You know what I'm saying? And so all of that was fun to see, because what it asks of them, how it tests them as performers, that kind of stuff. So I thought that was very interesting, because so many great performers just die out. It just dies out after a while, Even nowadays we see
the vast majority.
vast majority.
Very few are Elton
John,
John,
boom.
where you see him at the Oscars
right
40 years after he became popular, and he's still Elton John. That's a rarity.
Yeah.
You don't often get that within entertainment.
Yeah, it's true.
Tom Cruise.
Right.
How many people have been able to do what Tom Cruise has done for this long?
Yeah.
Because Will Smith's hitting a rough patch.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't start to have a more consistent, then it's the tier of how much people are willing to invest in his projects is gonna start to drop.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that's gonna be a weird day when he doesn't be able to command doing a top budget movie.
I'm sure it happens with stand-ups all the time too. They hit that kind of peak, and then they start to slowly come back down again, and then you're just playing. You're being in a lineup of people and things of that nature.
Very
so
few get to do the Carlin.
Yeah, right.
Where you're sold out in theaters for the rest of your life.
Yeah, right.
For as long as you're willing to perform.
Yeah.
Don Rickles, when I saw him, he's a year from passing away, and sold out a nice 1,500, 2,000 seater.
Right.
And it was here in L.A., so he just drove down. It's on Melrose. I can't remember. I can look it up and tell you afterwards. But I'm sure he's got a place in Beverly Hills or Malibu.
Right.
And he just drove down and got to do a nice 2,000 seater and just drive home. That's pretty fucking sweet.
That's the life, man.
Yeah, it is.
That's where you want to get to, for sure. All right, what's your number 8?
My number 8 is The Phantom Thread.
Oh, wow. Oh, good. You put some really good choices on here, man. All right. I like Phantom Thread. Great choice.
So do I. And it doesn't get to make a list all that often. It doesn't. Like the second list it's ever made of mine.
I like it.
Until we get to a Paul Thomas show.
Yeah.
And then eventually, hey, sure. Does he have 10 yet? He doesn't have 10 yet.
No, I don't think he's got 10 yet. No. He takes his sweet ass time.
He does. We got this.
Let's see.
There Will Be Blood, Boogie Nights, Magnolia.
Yeah. He's definitely under 10. Punch Drunk Love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Master.
The Master, yeah. 1. Yeah. Inherent Vice.
Yeah, Inherent Vice.
Which was terrible in my opinion. 4, 5. Yeah.
He's not quite there.
No, he's not. Magnolia 6. Boogie Nights 7. And then Hard 8, 8. So yeah, he's around 8. So with a bunch of music videos thrown in between.
One day.
Yeah.
One day.
One day down
there
the road.
will be. Phantom Thread is about mid, I want to say like the 40s or 50s, something like that, in London. And it's a guy that has his own fashion house.
Yeah.
Legitimately, I guess that's where the term comes from. It's a house structure, and all the workers, live there and work there, I guess.
Yeah.
And they're making these dresses, and it's a guy that's he has his world structured precisely as he needs it. And he has these women float in and out of his life, and they're basically his spark.
Yeah.
And then once he kind of, that spark fades, then he just cuts them off and moves on, and this new one flows in, and she disrupts everything. And just to see this well-ordered world kind of go chaotic, but within the chaos, he understood the order, and it helped him grow coming out of it.
Right.
I know a lot of people, when they see Anderson's movies, they're like, well, what was the point? It's like, I don't know. I like the snapshot.
Yeah.
But then in other directors, I'm not as, drawn to.
I think there's a way to do it. And once you realize what kind of director he is, you know what you're getting into when you walk through the door. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, okay, let's see what he can do with this story, right? And yeah, you're right. This is a snapshot of this dude's life. I love the ending. I love the smirk on his face at the ending. It is brilliant. I mean, because everything's been building to that smirk. Every single thing in that movie leads to that moment of understanding between the two of them. And it was like, this guy is so difficult to be with and to date. He's used to lording over his land.
Yes.
And finally, someone has come along who had to learn how to get through to him for the exchange of being with him. Mm-hmm. And it's such an extreme thing that she does that you're just like, oh my God.
And also
this game that they have to play,
the vehicle with which he does it is something that he loves.
Yes, exactly.
So then making him to, I guess, reject what he previously loved and latch onto her as he's wallowing in his sickbed.
Yeah.
And once you, that somehow is a dynamic that clicked. Like, wow, what an interesting little fucking world this is.
That's why I get why people complain about it or call it pretentious or say it didn't work for them. I get it. It's such a distinct film.
It's pretentious because it's a world about pretension.
Yes.
It's a world that is utterly made up in that fashion is whatever the fuck you want it to be.
Yeah.
And he walks around looking down on, doesn't he have a royal in there for a dress fitting and whatnot? And she kind of bucks what he wants. And him talking down to her, he knows precisely what this organic to him thing is.
Yeah.
And whatnot. It's all fucking pretentious. So of course this movie's pretentious.
But it's pretentious in the best way.
Yes.
Because it's Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
And you get, of course, Vicky Krieps, who's fantastic as the love interest, and then Leslie Manville was great as well as the sister. Man, she was so powerful in a lot of those scenes. So yeah, you need that kind of cast in order to make this not feel like it's people putting on the pretentious. You need people that can actually convey it in a way that's connectable or understandable.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great choice, man. Absolutely great choice.
What you got?
All right. So my number 10, if I've got this right, is All Is True, which is a recent Branagh film that came out.
Oh, the Shakespeare one?
Yeah, the Shakespeare
That was one of the ones I thought about watching.
Yeah. I really liked it. I saw it on the plane back from Australia. And then I rewatched it again because I wanted to watch it without the distractions of a plane.
Okay.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It is a dark rumination at the end of Shakespeare's life about all the mistakes he made at home in order to be able to achieve all the successes he did in his life, and then what that kind of negligence has done to his family.
Of course.
And still poetic, still caught up in observing the world and the nature of the world and all of that, while at the same time trying to be like, well, what am I now? What am I doing now? Right? This idea of retirement. What can I become? And trying to repair the relationships of the people he had ignored or cheated on or pushed away because of his pursuit of success there in London. Because in his mind, he thought he was doing all this and that they would be so grateful to him.
Yeah.
But when he comes home, when he comes back to live again in Stratford, he realizes that they're all extremely pissed at him and that the world goes on. It's so great. It's so quietly great.
Okay.
And it's a shame to me that not enough people went to see it. And I kick myself in the ass that I didn't go see this when Branagh was here doing a Q&A with Mance at the Landmark for it. Yeah, I felt super fucking terrible that I couldn't make it out that night because I had other plans. And when I heard about it, I was like, I can't change these plans. But man, I really wanted to see Branagh talk about it because, I mean, there's no combination of me that I love more than Branagh and Shakespeare. So to see him playing Shakespeare, which makes so much sense that Branagh's hubris would lead to him playing Shakespeare.
Well, who else could pull off the Bard?
Yeah, exactly. Butt Brana.
Yeah, Butt Brana. A guy that's I have to assume is pretentious.
Oh, yeah.
Have to assume.
Oh, sure.
And it's I mean that if possible in the Stephen A. Smith way. No disrespect. We're both grown men.
That's right.
But he has. I mean, there's just no way.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he's a lovely guy. The people that actually know him, there's no way he couldn't be.
Right. But he's his ego is strong.
Yeah.
To achieve what he's achieved.
You can see it from afar.
Yep,
Across
exactly.
5,000 miles. We can see it across the ocean and the entire continent of this country. You can see it across that horizon.
It's very true. It's very true. Yeah, that's why I like watching Wallander, because it's one of those rare things that he does where he's super vulnerable the whole time. Even though he thinks he knows what's happening, he's always being caught out like half a step behind or a step behind, and he's always trying to figure shit out as he goes along. It's a rare role that Brana plays, so I always enjoy him playing that kind of stuff. But yeah, all this is really good. If no one's seen it, if you haven't seen it, give it a chance. It's an hour and 45, hour and 50.
Sure.
It's not that long of a film. Ian McKellen has a great scene where he comes in as a former lord from that time who Shakespeare might or might not have had a sexual relationship with.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, it's so interesting to throw that in there, and then have his wife confront him about those sonnets that everyone has said sounds like he's writing it to a man and a woman, and so that kind of stuff. So anyway, very interesting stuff. Number 9 for me is Pride and Prejudice, the Keira Knightley one. Right,
Not on my list.
Yeah, right.
It's part of that 10-year gap.
Yeah, I saw this on a date. This was a date. This was let's go see it. It's a British film. Why not? And I enjoy it. It's certainly one of the best things that Keira's ever done. I'm not always the biggest fan of Keira Knightley, but I did enjoy her in this. I do enjoy the subtlety that permeates the entire movie for this to tell this story. I enjoyed that very much, and what she's able to accomplish with it. And the direction of the film. Who directed this thing again? I think it's Gillian Armstrong, but I'm not sure. I should have looked it up before we started talking. My apologies.
Not a problem.
It's Matthew McFadden's in this thing, who's great on Ripper Street. Joe Wright, who also did Atonement.
Who's he on Ripper?
He's the main guy in Ripper Street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's in this thing. Brenda Blethyn, Donald Sutherland, a lot of people in this thing. A young Rosamund Pike is in this, and of course, the idea of Mr. Darcy, all that kind of. Of course, everybody loves Colin Firth's Mr. Darcy, but I kind of enjoyed Matthew McFadden, a kind of young Matthew McFadden, doing this kind of stuff. So overall, like I said, interesting film.
Okay.
Joe Wright does a nice job adapting it, so it doesn't feel like it's we're talking like this and everything is so. It's more a matter of it's more gutsier, I guess I would say. So that's what I would think.
Still won't see it.
No, I totally understand. Some people dig it, some people don't. My number 8 then is Elizabeth.
Okay. I watched that for this.
Yeah.
Bored to tears.
Really?
Bored to tears. And it's everything I love. And I was bored out of my mind.
Okay, fair enough.
Couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It has all the underpinnings.
You were looking forward to it. You were
Yes.
like, this is going to be great.
Well, because we had talked about doing another show, and I was like, I should really see Elizabeth because it's perfect for this, and you agreed, so we held off doing that theme.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
And I watched it, and I was like, dude. I liked it at the very end, the transition, when she's like, I'm married to this country.
Oh, yeah.
Great. That's what I want to see. It's all the turmoil leading up, and Richard Attenborough was really mediocre. And he was drawing me out of, and I don't know, the Fiennes kid was good, but at the same time, I didn't believe his character could do this.
Right.
I could see the chemistry that he had with Cate Blanchett as Elizabeth, but I didn't believe that this individual, the way he was portraying it, and the French guy was weird. Is that shit true? The French prince?
Yeah.
Or Duke or whatever he was?
Yeah. Of course, they took a little bit of liberties, I imagine.
Okay, have to.
Yeah, right.
Like when you walk in and he's in the dress.
I mean, if Vinnie Jones is in this thing, they're taking some liberties, so yeah.
What is Vinnie Jones in?
Isn't Vinnie Jones in this one, in Elizabeth?
I mean, the closest I can think of would be the French guy that is in the intermediary, basically like...
no, that's Cantona. That's Eric Cantona.
Something totally
he's
different.
He's a soccer star. If Eric Cantona...
He looks big.
Yeah, he's big. And he's that was one of his first ever.
He's not bad.
And last ever films he's ever done.
He's not bad in it.
Yeah, I liked it because I like her performance. That's what carries it for me. I think Cate Blanchett is fantastic in the movie.
She is,
and she was nominated for the Oscar, and they gave it to Gwyneth Paltrow instead. But I thought she was great in the film. And you're right, it's not a fantastically awesome film.
Well, the ratings though, and you're
Yep.
one of I know a couple other people who we have roughly the same taste in music. Like there are anomalies within it, but at the
Yeah.
same time, just like we both can spot a good movie,
Right.
And they are big fans. So I was going into it. I loved her and Jeffrey Rush, and I wanted
Jeffrey
way
Rush is
more
good.
Jeffrey Rush.
Yeah.
Because he was great as this kind of Uber spy
Yeah.
type of thing.
Scheming
That was
around.
super interesting. And the guy that was the head of court that was trying to challenge her ultimately, but gets cut down because of the Catholic Church. Daniel Craig looks weird.
Yeah.
With a bowl cut. Anyway, the whole papal interjection, like, could have been interesting, but it was, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just,
Didn't have enough teeth for you, I imagine.
I don't think so.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I enjoyed for what the costume design is incredible in the film.
Yep.
I think she, like I said, she's incredible in the film. I like the lunacy of Samantha Morton as Mary Queen of Scots, all of that rolling through it, and then her being courted by Joseph Fiennes, and then the twist on that, how it all plays out, and that she just has this journey, because the whole film is her journey, right, of accepting being the queen.
Well, trying
Fully.
to figure out what that means.
Yeah, exactly. And what she needs to do in order to fully embrace it, right? That there's something bigger than her, and that she can't be held down by the simple morality of people who are not going to be rulers, right? There's a journey she has to go on and make some tough decisions when she does, so that she can embrace being a monarch.
Because left and right, she gets told, that's all well and good, but you're not a man.
Right.
Like, eventually she has to just go, F you.
Right.
I'm the queen.
Yeah. Suck it.
I did love the little scene where she's having trouble with the bishops, and she locks the 6 guys that are leading the opposition against her. Jeffrey Rush locks them in a basement, so she wins the argument in the room with the other 100 and whatever. It looks like 150 people ish.
Yeah.
And it ends up like she won by 6 votes because they knew they need to get those people out. I was like, I really hope that's true. That's awesome. I love that. There are moments within the story I'm like, this is gorgeous.
Right.
And then it gets out of, like, when the French woman goes onto the battlefield to give the little kid is dying, her sigil or whatever it is to go back, and I was like, you could cut all this shit out. I don't give a flying fuck.
Yeah.
You're already showing me, if don't show me the aftermath, either show me the battle or show me them, like, in essence, what they do in Braveheart, show back up with a head in the box.
Yeah.
That's more than enough, but I don't really see this. Spare this one life.
Right.
Child who you could be mortally wounded. I have no idea.
Right.
Do this for me. And you're like, this makes no sense. But at the same time, they're making up a lot of this, so I really can't fault them.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, what's your number 7?
7 is The Prestige.
Oh, nice choice. You went for these interesting choices. All right, cool.
I was trying to go all over the map because period covers, technically, it's a wide swath. I was hoping we could talk about all kinds of movies we don't really get to talk about.
That's fair. Totally.
Because all choices on some level are valid.
Yes.
In this one,
Yeah.
you could do war movies only.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Anyway, so for Prestige, so it's the 2 movie magician in 1 year type of thing.
Yeah.
And which one are you going to gravitate towards? I saw both, but this one has been the clear winner ever since.
Right.
Great performance from Tom Hardy and Hugh Jackman. What, David Bowie is Tesla?
Yes.
And it takes what on the face of it looks like a really simple movie and then turns it into this dark philosophical question by the end of it.
Yeah.
Which did not see coming, and it just kind of further cemented enjoying Chris Nolan films. It's like he keeps churning out like all these little interesting projects left and right, and now it's why Tenet I'm geeked about.
Oh, yeah.
That plus, Villeneuve's Dune. I didn't like the first one,
Right.
but everybody, those that love it adore this property.
Yeah.
So you could do something really good, I guess, with it. It's hypothetically possible.
Yeah.
If you can do it with King, I'm sure you can do it with this author. So yeah, but within that, just the ending when he's in that water
Yeah.
and you're like, what is this worth to you?
Right.
Do you live on? That person's a facsimile of you,
Yeah.
but it's not you.
It's a good question, man.
It is. So what is this worth to you? Right. The glory in that moment that you're only going to experience from below the stage, momentarily?
Right.
And the fact that somehow you did it behind your own back because or was it more so that he was just accepting of it, but he looked in shock that I think, the first time he goes in. It's like, man, it's fucking brutal when Tom Hardy's is just like, I got a twin.
Yeah.
Why? How else is there to do it? I got a twin. Of course he has a twin. He's a fucking magician. There is no magic. You know? Oh, man. Just a great little twist.
Yeah.
And then the other one was the Ed Norton, Paul Giamatti,
Yeah, The
Jessica
Illusionist.
Biel, The Illusionist.
Yeah.
I've seen it once. I literally couldn't tell you what it's about. I haven't seen it since.
Yep. I saw it once and I was like, yep, nope. Not
I
even
don't
close.
remember. Is Giamatti like a inspector?
Yeah, I think so. Trying to figure it all out.
Something.
Yeah.
That's all I really remember. Norton's the magician.
You're dealing with in comparison, it's a lower situation, isn't it? Like it's a lower director than Nolan. It's a lower main actor than Hugh Jackman or Christian Bale.
I like Ed Norton and Giamatti. I think they could do it.
Yeah, but I still think these are lesser in status. And then Scarlett versus Jessica Biel's no contest. For God's sakes.
But because Nolan decided to take it to if magic was real,
Yeah.
and this is the only like kind of outcome if you had this, and with Tesla coming into it, what a great little character choice.
Totally.
Whereas the other one, if memory serves, it's more like, meat and potatoes type of movie.
Yeah,
it just
is.
happens to have a magician.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, there's intrigue, but ultimately he's a fucking magician.
Larger. Yeah.
Yeah, and this one's like, well, what the fuck is going on here? And it leaves you pondering.
Yeah. By the way, there's a great documentary on PBS about Tesla. It's I think it's under the American Masters series. It's an hour and a half. Fucking fantastic.
Probably doesn't even come close to scratching the surface.
Probably. I was just so blown away about so much already that I watched and learned that I didn't know about with him. He was like, this guy had ideas for days.
Exactly.
Man. And was one of those geniuses that was self-destructive, constantly undercutting his abilities to do things or to succeed doing things.
Getting screwed over.
Sure, but
By Edison.
But being put in a position to allow himself to be screwed over because it was smart enough to think ahead and get everything protected. That's another part of it too. That's very interesting to watch with Tesla. So I get it, but I also get that you have to take responsibility for your shit too. I mean, I'm just saying, my personal opinion.
And it's also the difference too of someone that was from this country with technology versus a foreign individual who's coming here, and there's a lot of like, yes, we have open borders, but at the same time, like, what are you, Irish? What are you this? What are you other? There's still a strata within that.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, who's this guy?
Who's this guy?
Yeah, who's this guy? Like, he's got ideas and stuff, but Edison's already got the infrastructure. He's already a name type of established. Right. He's proven to me this magic that he can do. I'm going to buy into Edison.
Yeah.
And just looking back, now we're more open to abstract ideas, I think, like that when it comes to technology.
True.
Well, predicting the smartphone, predicting, I believe the internet, predicting wireless energy. I know he tried to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. What's your number 6?
6 is Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Oh man, you're just picking these great ones, dude. I guess I'll just have to sit in the background, man. Go ahead.
There's another,
Mine are so completely different, man.
But like outside of Pride and Prejudice, the other one I almost watched, the Kenneth Branagh.
You did almost. Watch
And then what was your other choice?
So far
escapes me.
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
You watched.
Yeah, which wasn't my cup of tea, but I can understand.
Right.
So it's not like you've made.
I guess I was mentally just trying to adhere more to that kind of like vibe of it all, but I get it. Like it's a great choice. I'm just mad I didn't pick those. Go ahead, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Dope movie, awesome cast. You should see it.
Dope.
It is a dope movie.
That should be on the poster.
It's
dope movie. Awesome
well,
cast.
it's. Is that a Le Carre or Le Carre?
Yeah, Le Carre. Yeah.
Who's I've only read one of his books. Mm-hmm. Not my cup of tea. I enjoy it, but it was just like I'd rather read something else.
Yeah.
But I like those movies. It could be one of the more realistic spy movies.
Yes.
That you're ever going to see. They got a mole in British intelligence, and they need to figure out where it's coming from.
They got to flush him out.
Yeah, and they have to go outside the agency to Oldman, who they let go, and he comes back in to run the investigation.
Yep.
And it's impressive to how he pieces it all together, and he finds the subtle clues that he had been overlooking throughout the previous years to give you the nod to who ultimately it is, and like how other characters, like Mark Strong, how he played into all of it.
Yeah.
And stellar cast: Oldman and Colin Firth, Toby Jones. I'm gonna have to look up. There's
what Oldman? Tom Hardy's in this thing. He has
that's right. Yeah.
He's a young guy that's over at the apartment. He was
overseas.
John Hurt's in
John
this
Hurt
thing.
is in this.
Right. I don't think Ian McKellen's in this thing, but he's like one of the rare people that are not.
No, he's not in it. Mm-hmm. Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes,
An early Cumberbatch.
That's right.
Yeah, that he is like the young kid
Yes.
that Oldman tries to bring in.
Right.
And gets, that's those moments where it's like, oh, get away with this dude. Get away with this dude. Like, get in, get out, get in, get out. But it's believable. That kind of tension. The stakes are real because they're so modest. He's doing what seems to be innocuous to the outside eye as best he can.
It's paced in a way that, like, either you're in or you're out, because it is very slow paced.
It has to be.
But Le Carre's books are all this slow paced. Like The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, the Richard Burton one, takes its sweet ass time getting to where it's going. But that's how Le Carre writes. The Russia House, the one with Sean Connery and Michelle Pfeiffer. A lot of people, I remember the reviews, people complained at the time, not enough action. Yeah, Le Carre's films are not action. They're not. Little Drummer Girl is kind of that exception, but most of the time it's not that much action.
But if it's going to be a true spy movie, that's what spies, by my understanding, is. It's all behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Their point is not to make noise.
Right, not to
It's the entire fucking point of this, entity's existence.
Yeah.
So it's gonna make a quieter film. That's fine. You have to get sucked into the intrigue of who is it, and you're pointing the finger and trying to figure out what's up and what's down.
Right. Hey, I enjoyed his pieces.
That's good.
I loved it, and the time that it's set is perfect, and the way everyone's reacting to things, because you're brought along, and then you're like, who could it be? Who is Control? Who is Control? All this kind of stuff, and you just kind of point, and then when you find it out, it's almost, and when you find out the truth, it's not a letdown necessarily, but it's more like, damn, him really?
Yeah,
and you're just like, shit, and
then you see it, and he gives his rationale
as
to how he got Oldman off his game for so long, and you're like, dude, what a good that's good mold. This is great writing. This is so utterly believable.
And you almost feel bad for him. Almost.
And you understand his rationale.
Right.
But we've been ride or die with Oldman since the opening scene. So
Exactly.
You went against my boy.
You can't go with my boy. So that was your number 6?
That was my 6.
Great, man. My number 7 is The King.
I thought about it.
Oh, it's so good.
It is good.
Damn, it's good. And it was theatrically released for a little bit of time because they were trying to get it some Oscar consideration.
I assumed.
Netflix did. But this is, dude, I've seen it 3 times now.
Have you? Okay, I've only seen it the once, but I was like, I liked Outlaw King.
Yeah, Outlaw King was good.
It was good.
Yeah.
And Chris Pine, I hope you get another shot at something like that because you were good in it, and all the other actors were too. It just didn't have the emotional oomph. Like that final battle was anticlimactic.
Yes, agreed. Totally agreed.
And that's where I think it ultimately killed the momentum of where it was going for me.
Yeah.
Whereas The King, his interaction with the French princess, when she was like, it's all illegitimate.
Yeah.
And you're like, she's not wrong.
Right.
But when he goes back down to that advisor, and the advisor's like, I got you what you wanted, didn't I?
Yeah.
Ultimately. And the lead up into how much, was it the question he asked, how many sheep do you have?
Right.
To get into the idea of land and how you stand to profit and gain from what has just previously happened.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous.
That's what I liked about the movie. It is so well directed, and it feels very real, like what it must have been like. I think Pattinson is fantastic as the Dauphin.
So did I. I didn't understand why people were against him on it.
Oh, no, it's crazy. He's so good at it.
Yeah, he is.
And Chalamet, I think, does a great job as a very unusual casting for Henry V. Yet when you see the pictures of Henry V, Chalamet with that bowl haircut comes close. And so you're just like, wow. Certainly closer than Branagh or anybody else who's played him.
And Edgerton is a real-life Falstaff?
Yeah.
A legitimate Falstaff?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is interesting as shit.
Yeah.
And when he's like, I have to be on that front line. I have to be, because throughout he's like, he's an advisor, but it's a new world to him.
Right.
So you as an audience can't tell, did he bullshit his way into this, or does he actually know what he's talking about?
Exactly.
And when you see the result of that question,
right,
that's when I think Chalamet becomes, because the rage that he has, it's utterly believable when he takes on Pattinson. The precept of what they built this day upon and their strategy versus the hubris of Robert Pattinson. It's just, it's beautifully, but I really thought about it. I need to see it again.
Yeah, dude. I honestly, it's 3 times. I can't stop watching it because, like, I love Henry V as a story. It's my favorite Shakespeare play, period. And the the Brana interpretation is great. I love the Olivier one too. I like the Olivier one, I should say. But this one is a great kind of like, it's not, obviously it's not the play, but it's the characters. And so you're like in there and you're just like in the muck of it all. And I loved it because what you said, the scenes of political conversation are very well written and sparse. There's not a lot of flowery bullshit going on. It's sparse. It's to the point. It's cutting. It's incisive. And you're just like, wow, this is kind of an intelligent approach. And yes, that is the baddest ass Falstaff I've ever seen.
Oh, there's never been...
Right?
All the others are he's an old man recounting and being drunk.
Exactly.
And you don't see what that actually could have been.
Mm-hmm. How the brutality of war changed him into this.
Yeah.
And how confident he is about what he's talking about.
Yeah, knows what
nobody wants to give him
when he
credit.
pitches his idea, you hear it as a modern individual.
Yes.
And you're like, he's correct.
Yes.
His assessment of this situation is correct.
Yep. You may not like it, but he's right.
You may not like it, and I don't know the outcome of this battle. Technically, I do. But even if I didn't know the outcome, if having the reduced forces that you have to figure out some sort of advantage. It's the old Sun Tzu, make their strength a weakness.
Right.
So, yeah, you got numbers, you got armor, you got all the rest of it, horses. How do we take that out of the equation as best we can?
Yeah.
It's fucking fascinating, man. I love any of that where you can see the distillation of thought of a complex idea in battle like that, battle strategy.
Yeah.
And just like, dude, he's got a point. Guys, he's got a fucking point. You're going to lose an open battle. Take his idea.
Yeah. Truth. My number 6 is Her Majesty Mrs. Brown or Mrs. Brown.
I haven't seen it. It's always looked good.
Oh, it's so good.
Well, how do you not love Judi Dench?
Exactly.
And then how do you not like Billy Connolly? Billy Connolly.
Yeah.
I've always liked Billy Connolly. It's just one of those I haven't seen.
Yeah, understood, man. It's like Gosford Park. One of those just haven't seen.
Yeah.
This one, it's. I've seen it maybe.
I use the restroom.
Oh yeah, sure. All right, I've seen it maybe 3 or 4 times. Really enjoyed it for what it was. Love the interaction between Connolly and Judi Dench. They're so funny and perfect in the film. And, of course, it never loses the stakes of what they're trying to address, which is her reign as the queen and then her relationship with this guy and then how it rankles the court and messes with everybody. I love that. And Billy Connolly is such an unusual choice for a role like this. And I remember when it was first announced and it came out, like the first time I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, this is so great because I enjoyed Billy Connolly and his stand-ups. Billy Connolly, when he was on Head of the Class and we did other things, really enjoyed it. I always wanted him to have more of a footprint. And of course, he's great in Last Samurai as well. So you wanted to see him like do a little bit more. And then this is when Judi Dench is coming off the Shakespeare in Love stuff. So she's like becoming like the actress du jour to use for these kinds of roles. So both of them in their chemistry and what they experience and go through and do, I think is fantastic. So for me, if you haven't seen Mrs. Brown, I think it's called Her Majesty Mrs. Brown internationally, but it's Mrs. Brown, I think, here in the States. It is a damn good movie, and Nost, you should see it sometime.
I definitely should. Because Billy Connolly's so rarely in movies.
Yeah.
And
he's always good when he's in them.
He is. My introduction to him was when he took over on Head of the Class.
Right, exactly.
And I liked him infinitely more than the guy from WKRP.
Yeah, Howard Hessman.
Howard Hessman.
Yeah.
Hessman was fine. I liked him.
Sure.
But Connolly came in. He just has this likability spark.
He has a warmth and a charm.
He really does.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just they have it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, you can clearly see it from a mile away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a blind spot.
All right. So what's your number 5?
Well, before we get to my 5,
good call.
Why don't we take a quick break and hear this word from our sponsor?
All right. Well, that was great. What a great words from our sponsors. That was great. Always love them supporting the show and love you all supporting our sponsors who support the show and supporting the show as well. All right, Matt, we left off at your number 5.
My 5 is The Favorite.
That's a punt.
Okay.
Wow. Finally, something that
I know.
was on the list.
Yeah, eventually we got to it.
Yeah, we did. My number 5 is Remains of the Day.
Another one I haven't seen. I thought about it.
Really? Oh, man. I can't. Go ahead.
It looked depressing when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. So it stayed in my head like that for a long time. And now that I'm older, I could easily watch something like this.
Yeah.
It piques my interest, but it just, I don't know. I never think of it. Mm-hmm. And when it came up on doing a search of what am I missing type of thing,
Yeah.
I was like, that's one I should see.
This is one that the first time I saw it just struck so many chords in me. Mm-hmm. Sorry, the acting by Anthony Hopkins and Emma Thompson and their chemistry and the story about this repressed butler who is so sworn to duty that he misses out on other things in his world, around his world, because he is so just chained to what he has to do. And everyone else, including the people he serves, try to get him to break out of this pattern of being this construct, this social construct of a butler.
Sure.
And the limits that a butler's job entails. And of course, he's like the head of the house. So he's telling people what to do. He's firing people. He's scolding people, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But Emma Thompson comes, and her character kind of breaks through to him. And for the first time ever, I would imagine, he has feelings for someone, and he doesn't know what to do with it. So he's even more insanely like aloof and distant and pushing her away. Even when she puts it on the table, how she feels. And there's this great moment where she finally gets through to him, and he reaches like a finger out to try to touch her, but she doesn't notice it and moves away. And in that moment, you see like, oh my God, that you finally took you an hour and a half to finally get to that moment, and it's missed and it's missed. So as he's older in life, he wants to go kind of like...
Oh, he laments?
Yeah, and so he wants to go repair the situation. So the movie is juxtaposed with flashbacks and him like on this journey to go find her again. And so it's just fascinating, the film. And you're right, it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's not a short film. It is certainly depressing in a lot of places because of his adherence to duty. But the repressed still performances of Anthony Hopkins and Emma Thompson in those moments of not saying what they want to say is just incredible acting, man, on so many levels. So I can't recommend it enough if you haven't seen it.
All right. You know what? I made a mistake. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I had typed The Favorite twice, and I forgot to put in the movie that I intended to put there at 5.
At 5?
The Favorite is up higher on my list, technically.
Okay.
My 5 is Master and Commander.
Okay. I stayed away from that one. All right.
That was a stretch to me, but I was like, you know what? If this is a period. There's a
certainly a period piece.
Well, it's a period
Certainly
within
British.
English history.
Yep, certainly English.
That they were dominant on the seas, and that's how they controlled their empire, and it's where we get the phrase, the sun never sets on the English empire.
Right.
Because they legitimately can make that claim, and it'd be tough to find a country that they didn't have some sort of dominance over, possession of, or influence on. And so it's an English piece to me for that.
Yeah.
It's not set in England per se,
right.
but it's in all English, and they're going against French privateers that are trying to take them down. But anyway, we've talked about that movie.
We have
a number of times.
Okay.
It's been a long time, but at the same time, you can go back and listen to our old archives. Master Commander has been brought up.
So that was your number?
That was my 5.
Okay.
Favorite is now a punt. Too higher on my list. So my 4
yes,
then is 1917.
Okay.
Not on your list?
No, because once again, I try to stay away too much from that kind of stuff.
From what stuff? Good movies?
The World War movies. The war movies. So I try to stay away from them as much as possible.
I have 2.
Yeah.
So did I. I didn't want it to be a bunch of those. And 1917 is the only one that's in the actual Warfront format.
Right, yeah.
And the uniqueness of the way they told a story that we've seen before, to me, is what kind of propels it onto, wow, this is really significant. It's a beautifully shot movie, as we're getting an understanding of what is being asked.
Yeah.
The slow build up to that is from them walking out, and they were on idyllically taking a nap under a tree, and basking in the sunlight, enjoying their life, to slowly get drawn into this, and they, from the camera's perspective, they're just descending through this trench. So the claustrophobia begins to set in for you as a viewer, and you're in this zone of death until the very end, when he is walking out and the sun comes back out and you can see the skies again.
Yeah.
And it's all bright. Because when they shot it, they kept specifically waiting for cloud cover. So there would be times where they waited the whole day and they never got cloud cover.
Wow.
But they wanted to have it overcast, gloomy when they're out, like that farm type of thing.
Yeah.
So it's always overcast, so it's dark and gloomy and dark and gloomy. They get to the end, the sun is out. You couldn't save all of them, but you saved a huge chunk.
Yeah.
But it's just the descent, and it draws you in. You can just feel, you can see it visually. The sides of the trenches slowly get taller and taller and taller as they're walking. And the brother is leading it, and the other one is like, "Why don't we think about this?"
Yeah.
And they're both right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a beautifully shot, executed, acted movie.
Yeah, it would have been number one on my list, absolutely, if I thought to put it on there. So certainly a glaring omission for me, but that is my favorite film of the year last year, over Parasite. I loved Parasite. Parasite
was my 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What's your 2?
It's 1917.
And what's your first?
JoJo.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's right. Oh, that's right. We did the list. My bad. Sorry. It's been a bit. Yeah, a lot of people I find have a lot of love for JoJo, and we're hoping it would pull an upset.
Well, you knew.
Yeah, you do, but
that it just didn't. Once you realized it wasn't in the conversation, then it was completely out because it had attracted the eyes it was going to attract.
Right.
At that point.
Good point. Yeah. But yeah, I loved 1917. I'm going to take Lindley at some point in the next couple of weeks to see it because she hasn't seen it and she wants to try, and she wants to see Parasite badly. So that may be the first thing we do.
So I think the reason Parasite ended up on third on my list is because the hype. I still saw it early, and the hype was huge.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I maybe let the hype die down a little bit and then see it. Because I think if you go into it thinking it's hands down the best movie of the year.
Right.
It's kind of hard for any movie to attain that status, as opposed to if you saw this without knowing anything about it and you were blown away because this is an amazing movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. But at this point, it's kind of impossible, I guess.
Well, she keeps saying, we're going. So I'm not going to, I can only resist for so long. All right. So then my number 4 is The King's Speech.
That's a punt.
Okay. All right. What's number 3?
My 3 is The Favorite.
Okay.
Still
that's
punt?
my number 2.
Okay.
So we can talk about it. Yeah, definitely. Oh, you're going to hate my number 1. But yeah, we're going to talk about it. Sir, The Favorite.
What is it? Great Expectations?
Yeah, totally. Great Expectations. The Ethan Hawke version.
Why am I going to hate it? What does that mean?
We'll see.
I already know what it is.
Yeah, there you go.
How many Stratford upon Avon movies are we going to get in one?
It's a period, damn it.
I assume that one's going to make your list.
Yeah.
I was curious as to whether or not the Rice Iphans would make your list.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen the opening hour, and then I got pulled away from it. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was like, I can go back. Like, it's not so important that I can't just pick right back up here.
Right.
But that was like 6 months ago.
Yeah. What was the name of that one? Do you remember? Yeah, there you
go. It's a short.
Yeah.
And it ends, I believe, it's conjugated in a past participle.
Yeah, okay.
I believe.
All right. And Reese Iphans is in this?
Is that how you pronounce it? I got called him Rice Iphans.
No,
Reese.
it's
fuck, what was that called? Because it's where, it's the real Shakespeare.
Yeah, isn't it called Anonymous?
Is it Anonymous?
Yeah, it's called Anonymous.
I thought it was something.
Yeah.
Like some sort of past tense on an action. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Anonymous. I remember that one. Yeah, it's not one of my favorites. Because Roland Emmerich did that one. There's no business he has doing a movie about Shakespeare, for fuck's sake. Anyway, so the 3 is the favorite, so that's my number 2.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Good film. Good, fantastic
awesome
film. Yeah.
I understand the people that had problems, like our friend Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I was with it until they did that dancing, and it's like this weird hip hop dancing.
Oh, the anachronistic thing.
Yeah. And in the theater and sense, it's just like, yeah, that is a little bit weird part. But the other, basically, a court intrigue.
Yeah.
About who's currying favor, and then once Rachel Weisz kind of oversteps her bounds and her rebuke and the rise of Emma.
Yeah.
It's just super engaging and interesting.
Yeah. Agreed. For me, certainly, and that's what I enjoyed about it, is that it's an unusually distinct film.
Yes.
And you can't even say that it's a comedy of manners. It's a dark comedy of manners, what I would say. And the themes of power and privilege and status, social status, strata, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And what you have to endure just to be around people of a certain level of fame or success or status.
And all these individuals don't have jobs.
Yeah.
So this becomes their entire life and world is the orchestrations or machinations of this crazy existence that they've all created for themselves.
Right. Well, it's anything, isn't it? If your life is your job and your job is run by someone who is like megalomaniacal or a complete nut or an ADD person or a passive aggressive person. You have to essentially take them stepping on your neck in a figurative way just so you can exist and take the shame of it. And it's just like that kind of stuff it's all there as you're watching the movie. And no matter how cool or you think you are by sliding your way in there and beating someone, like you could have transported that story onto a modern day executive situation.
Sure, without a doubt.
Right? Emma Stone is the up-and-coming executive person. Rachel Weisz is the vice president who's been there for a long time. The president of the company. The president of the company is a weird person who's built this whole empire, lays in bed all day, gets out, does strange shit, has random moments of wanting shit around. Emma angles her way in there and then realizes, oh, shit, I got to eat so much crow just to have this power, just to have this status amongst other people, but I'll never reach that extra status to be seen as an equal by this person. And you're just like, wow.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
It works on so many fucking levels, man. All right, my number 3 then is The Darkest Hour.
Okay.
Which is the Churchill film. Yeah, dude. I mean,
I loved Oldman in it.
Yes.
I thought the movie was good.
Yeah. Okay, fair. I love Oldman in it, and it just, for me, that's what makes the movie, is everything
Without a
around
doubt.
him and what he does and the portrayal. And I'm just a sick fan of Winston Churchill anyway. And I know people go like, well, in his past, he was racist, the Boer War stuff, all that. I get it. But I take the man as a whole. And for me, as a whole, I find him as someone very interesting to read about and study and analyze and look at. And I rarely miss a Churchill movie or a Churchill special or documentary because I'm always hunting for more to learn about the guy. And I thought Oldman did one of the most incredible jobs I've ever seen of anybody who's played Churchill. I like Lithgow in season 1 of The Crown.
He's really good.
Right? And it's surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Because you look at him and you go, there's no way this guy can play Churchill. And then you see him. And then, of course, you see him play Roger Ailes in Bombshell, if you haven't seen that yet. Another kind of larger man type of thing. And so it just kind of works for some reason for him. But in this, I just enjoyed top to bottom. And it's Joe Wright again, who did Sense and Sensibility and Atonement. And I really enjoy what he was able to do with this movie and bring out from the performances and the story of Churchill in World War II and the Dunkirk situation, all of that. So, yeah. That was my 3. And,
so my 2 is your punt, the punt from earlier, King's Speech.
Okay, sure. I know you love that movie.
I do. I'm a big fan. The year it came out, it was one of those years where there's 4 or 5 deserving of being Best Picture.
Yeah.
When this won, I was of the opinion of they're all equal to me, but this one is the most unique.
Right.
So let's just give it to this one. It's a war story, but it's not about necessarily the specific what you associate with the war.
Yeah.
It's the individual that, when they're having the discussion of the king, in essence, gives the nation courage.
Yeah.
You understand individuals that never grew up with that type of figurehead, president, but president is different from a king, and they're doing a transition. Now, obviously, they had the Magna Carta, so people have had rights for a long time.
Right.
But there was still this held upon dignitary that was higher than everybody else, that they all agreed upon was royalty. And that individual could influence the courage, the bravery, the fortitude, everything that you need in this type of war, because, Jerry is coming, and they're efficient. Like when he's talking about the kid, one of his kids asks him, one of his daughters, who is that man? They're watching a reel of Hitler, and he's like, I don't know, but whatever he's saying is, he's very confident.
Yeah.
It's what he projected, and you need to project that back in his face and to have a stutter.
Yeah.
And it was a job that you were never intended to have, but your brother abdicated because he didn't want the responsibility, because he wanted to be a young asshole playboy.
Right.
Which I could understand that, being in my young 20s, if I had all that.
Sure.
I have my own plane in a day and age when nobody has planes. And
well, and it just wasn't done, right? So
no one gives up the throne.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And how could you think that it wouldn't one day happen, that someone would be like, no, I don't want the responsibility of this and the constraints of this. I want to be able to be with who I want to be with and live my life and be with this married or divorced or married woman,
like
at the
twice
time.
divorced woman from
that's what it was. Yeah.
Cleveland or Detroit or somewhere.
Right. And we're seeing it happen now again with Harry and Meghan.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, screw it, we're stepping down. We're going to go build our own life in Canada and the States, and we'll occasionally visit England and do stuff with England, but we don't want the constraints of that. We don't want to deal with the prejudice and the bias that's going on towards her, and he's got every right to make a decision as he sees fit. But he's not in line for the crown. Homie was in line for the crown. Guy Pearce's character in the film, Charles or King, whatever his name was. Yeah,
but it'd be interesting, if Harry then finds himself years later in this same situation where you were never supposed to be next in line.
Yeah.
But now you're technically next in line.
Could be if something happens to Charles and then something happens to
his brother.
His brother, right. Yeah. To William, yeah.
It very well could. He hasn't renounced that right, just renounced being part of the circus.
Exactly.
Which I can't blame him. The more you watch The Crown, you're like, what a weird world.
Yeah.
Because you start to identify with the understanding of like, well, the crown has to do this.
Yeah.
And you're like, technically, it seems like she's probably correct.
Yeah, right.
You're like, that's weird, man.
Mm-hmm. It's a whole other level of existence.
Yeah, when that coal mining town goes under, and she at first is like, no, we show up after this.
Yeah.
And they're trying to tell her, like, modern age, you can't anymore because everybody can see the damage.
Right.
Before it's a story in a newspaper, but when you can see images and you can put a face to the problem, it makes it a completely different, equation.
I like that episode. Man.
It's a good one. When she eventually succumbs to her own feelings of wanting to be there and fighting against, then ultimately it's, I am the crown. I am the institution. Mm-hmm. I could do what I want. Just like in Elizabeth.
Yeah.
That's when I like that character, when she finally, but I understand why you have to build in Elizabeth to get to that. You don't get that shit overnight.
I'd be curious to see what you think of if you ever see the Elizabeth sequel. I'm curious what you think. Certainly more action on that one.
Is it? I don't need more action. I guess I just need more who the character is.
Yeah, that's what I mean. She embraces her role more, so there's more decisiveness, more action is what I meant. I don't mean fighting or anything.
The cold-hearted calculus is what I want to see. Mm-hmm. And in no way will I look at her as being, cruel or anything like that. She's like, that's the job.
Yeah.
Every powerful man is a shitty person.
Yeah.
Just like every powerful woman is. Mm-hmm. They're not good people. Nope. Especially on that level. That means you've killed countless people to get that position.
Yeah.
Or maintain it.
Or screwed over countless people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you don't get that much power without having shitload of bodies buried.
It's true. It's very true. This is very, very true.
So yeah, King's Speech, it's a dope movie. Colin Firth, Jeffrey Rush, Helena Bonham Carter. It is dope.
It is.
Guy Pearce.
Well, this what I enjoy about the movie. And you talked all about the but for me, what I enjoy is the relationship. That's what brings me back.
The back and forth.
Their friendship, right, and the battle of how close you can get to a royal. And he gets pretty close, and then there's that scene where he gets...
You could be.
Yeah, where he goes too far, where he crosses that line, and homie like walks away from him. That's how easily you can be dismissed forever from a royal's life. And you're just like, wow. It's
exactly.
Like, you came to me. You came to my
Cut
house.
Dry.
You begged me to help you. And then the second I get close to the reasons for why you're failing at this and really calling you out on it, you want to dismiss me and toss me out. I thought it was a great scene.
But when it comes back around, and the genuine, when he was like, this is basically one of the few friends he had for the rest of his life.
Yeah,
because he was just how could Jeffrey Rush's character not love the bump in pay and the bump in prestige?
Of course.
But he genuinely liked the man. You could tell that there was a kinship between the two of them that was honest. At least as the actors portrayed it, but given the fact that these men were in each other's lives in close orbit for the rest of their lives, it's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, the interaction. Yeah, but you saw Cleesinus, and he's got that weird lisp on top of stutter on top of specific, mid-Atlantic inflection, whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah.
His accent. Yeah, and at the falling out, but...
I even love Timothy Spall in this as Churchill. I had a speech impediment when I was
exactly. That's about as much as I could take as Spall's Churchill. And I love Timothy Spall. He's in my number one movie.
He's great. Yeah.
He is great. He's always great. But that one was like, And I'm glad he lost the weight, but it has taken an adjustment.
Man. It's weird to see him
it's
now.
much healthier. Good for you, man.
Yeah. But it's weird to see him now, man.
You're just used to one thing.
Mm-hmm. His kids are great actors too. Fuck, just like the Gleasons, his kids are great actors. Or Skarsgård's, his kids are great actors.
I know.
It must be so weird, man. Generational stuff is insane. Or Richard Harris and his kids, because his other kid is the the dude in the James the Mission Impossible movies. The
Spall's kid?
Yeah. No, Harris, Richard Harris.
Okay.
His son, Jared Harris, is obviously, his kid, his son. But Rafe Harris is the guy you see in the Mission Impossible movies as the villain. The guy, he talks like this. He's got it sounds like this when he speaks.
Trouble
Okay.
picture, and I can pull it up.
If you saw if you saw that first Knight trailer or the Green Knight trailer, he's King Arthur in that thing. He's fantastic. But it's an interesting actor.
He's King Arthur because there's the Dev Patel.
Yeah, that's the one. Green Knight. Is it Rafe Harris or what Harris is it?
Give it to me on IMDb. Nope, gonna have to go there, motherfucker. Looking up Green Knight. Here we go. Dev Patel,
Yep.
Alicia Vikander, and Sean Harris.
Sean Harris, that's it. Sean Harris.
Yeah, he's the dude that's in the King.
Yes.
He's the villain in the King.
Oh, right. He's the villain of the King. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And he is in Prometheus.
Yes, he is in Prometheus as one of the scientists, right? So yeah.
As the geologist that his pups and then suddenly doesn't know how to read the map on the fucking thing that he created. That movie is so frustrating, and yet
It is.
I enjoy it.
It's conveniently frustrating. All right. Anyway, yeah. So right there. All right. So 2, I already said was the favorite. Your 2 was the
King's Speech.
King's Speech. So what's your 1?
1 is Topsy Turvy.
Oh, great choice, man.
I've since watched it.
Fuck! I should have put that on my list.
I know it's as soon as we said this, and I was like, you know what? Here's another excuse to talk about Topsy Turvy. I've since watched it like 3 times since the last time I managed to force it onto a list.
Yep. No, that goes on my list. I'm kicking something off.
Dude, I love Topsy Turvy.
I'm kicking off Pride and
Every time I
Prejudice.
see it, I love it even more.
Yeah, it's such a great film.
It is.
Shit.
Gorgeous cast. It's such a stellar ensemble. You feel like you know all these people.
Yep.
And there's so many different actors and producers, directors. Andy Serkis has a small part as a choreographer,
Yeah.
but it's a distinct part. You remember that. But Timothy Spall.
Yes.
And the one dude that's he was on Rome, but he's in Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah,
red-haired.
Kevin McKidd.
There you go.
Yeah.
The two of them are just great together.
Right.
And there's just one after another. Awesome performances across the board.
Yeah, Gilbert and Sullivan are fantastic.
They are. Jim Broadbent and I can't remember the other individual's name.
Yeah, he'll show up every once in a while in something, and you're just like, oh, I always remember Topsy Turvy when I ever see that guy show up in anything.
Yeah.
Because he's so good in that movie. And, of course, the wife of Jim Broadbent is the sister in Phantom Thread, Leslie
Yes.
Manville.
Yeah.
She's fantastic in that as well. And all that they go through putting on the Mikado. And that whole journey, you're just like, man, this is a fascinating... And it's a long film. It's not a short film.
No, but it flies by.
It does. It does.
Because you have
of the
all
characters.
these different... And you have to go to the actresses, and the one actress has the kid.
Yes.
And she's always talking about, like, basically she can't find somebody else, and you're drawn into this. And then there's the other actress that's her roommate,
Right.
or dressing roommate. And they pair them off, and you just get to go into these little worlds in the context of this overall world.
Yeah.
Like when they all stand up for Timothy Spall because his song got cut.
Yeah, that was such a great
It is.
scene.
And he walks in, and he's like, I have no idea what's going on, sir.
Yeah.
And they're all fighting for it. It's one of the chorusmen
Yeah.
that stands up and says something first.
I think it's on the stairs, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's an interior stairwell that's one of those open in the middle and everybody can see each other.
I love that scene, man, because he says, did you put them up to this? He goes, I have no idea what's going on. And he tells him, oh, all right, we'll keep the song. But it's great. Great stuff, man. Yeah, shit. All right. I have to adjust my list, I guess, at some point. So, all right.
And your number 1
Is Shakespeare in Love, of
Yes.
course, yes. I love that film. I've talked about it a million times on the show, so I don't know how much more I can say. Paltrow is great. Joseph Fiennes is great. The film, for whatever reason, still speaks volumes to me. Always lifts up my spirits. Always lifts up. I could be in the most depressed place. I put in Shakespeare in Love, and for whatever reason, just picks up my spirits. I love the idea of young love in the movie. I love the idea of the fact that it's a tragic love because it cannot come to be.
Okay.
And the performances, Colin Firth, Judi Dench is, of course, fantastic as Queen Elizabeth. All of it, all around, I just thoroughly enjoy the film because it's not just a throwaway rom-com. There's a lot that is in that film. And Jeffrey Rush is fantastic. Ben Affleck even works in the damn film, which was surprising to me. Broadbent also in this. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Tom Wilkinson is in this as well as the guy. Anyway, I've talked about it a million times. It's a fantastic film. It won Best Picture. What else can I say? All right.
In a decision I don't agree with to this day.
I know you don't. A lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's our separate list there for top 10 period films. I guess I'll have to throw Topsy Turvy onto my list somewhere. So,
Depending on where you put that, we've got. Where do you have King's Speech?
I have it at 4. I'll have to put Topsy Turvy right below Remains of the Day. So I'll put it at 6.
Okay.
For me. And
well, I would say, and then the favorite you have where?
I have the favorite at 2.
Oh, and you have King's Speech at 3?
Yeah. Well, King's Speech now is at 4. Darkest Hour is at 3.
Okay, so then it goes the favorite, then King's Speech.
Okay.
All right. And then we got, Topsy Turvy at 1-6. Do we have anything else
Topsy Turvy? Nope.
Closer than that?
No, I don't think there's anything much that we have.
No, we don't have anything else in common, do we?
Yeah.
Okay, so Topsy Turvy then.
Yeah, I'm cool with Topsy Turvy being high.
What's your next highest?
We did Shakespeare in Love, my number 1. So we haven't done that one yet.
We have not.
So I'll take it that it's down lower than 1. All right.
Okay, what's your next highest?
Do we do the favorite? Oh, Darkest Hour at number 3.
Oh, Darkest Hour 3?
Yeah.
All right, that beats 1917. And then I got 17 at number 4.
Okay.
What's your next highest?
It is King's Speech at 4, Remains of the Day at 5.
I got Master and Commander, which you didn't include. I haven't seen Remains of the Day. What do you think?
What number are we at?
This is for 7.
Oh, that's fine. All right, fine. Get your Master and Commander in there. All right. That's fine.
Remains of the Day?
Yeah.
2 left.
Remains of the Day.
I got Tinker Tailor at 6.
Okay. I have at 6. I had Topsy Turvy, so I guess you take that one.
So what's your? I got 7 Prestige.
7 is Her Majesty Mrs. Brown.
You've seen both. Call it.
Oh.
Prestige versus Her Majesty.
It's not really fair, is it?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't know what is fair or not fair in this.
I hate to let you win twice. That really sucks.
Prestige is a better movie?
It is a better movie.
Okay.
I should have put The King higher. I would have put The King on there. Oh, well. Such is life. You can't have everything.
You can't, unfortunately. We're good to go.
All right. Let's. I'm trying to get this squared away here. Give me 1 second. See if I can do it. All right.
You have me email to you?
Let's see.
I can bang?
There we go. All right.
Oh, you got a drum roll.
All right. The top 10 English period films, yeah. At number 10.
The Prestige.
That's a little long. That was a little long.
It is a little long.
Okay, sorry about that. Oh, and now that you have to make you play stupid little things every time? God, I hate that. All right. Yeah. At number 9.
Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
It's not working. I'll just get on the table. Sorry about that. At number 8.
The Remains of the Day.
At number 7.
Master and Commander.
At number 6.
1917.
At number 5.
The Darkest Hour.
At number 4.
Shakespeare in Love.
At number 3.
Topsy Turvy.
At number 2.
The King's Speech.
And our number 1 English period film is
The Favorite.
There you go, The Favorite. El Favorito, as we might say in Spanish countries. All right, there you go. A lot of interesting movies that we haven't talked about before on this list, and the couple that we did. But yeah, go see Emma if you haven't seen Emma. That's the reason we're doing this list. See what you think. If you like English period films, I'm taking to you, Kristen Smith. I think she likes English period films, I would imagine.
Okay. I do not know, but
I just have a weird
it could be a legitimate guess, but Thanks to everybody that follows us online anywhere. You can go to facebook.com/groups/the top 10 show with the number 10, is it not?
Yes.
And then, or if you'd like to support us over at patreon.com/the top 10 with the number 10, we'd thoroughly appreciate it. London, we're coming May 2nd to King's Place. Go to kingsplace.co.uk. Pick up your tickets. They're only £30. We're doing one show that night. Doors open at 7. Shows at 8. It's going to be a shitload of fun. Doing an extra long show for you guys. So go to kingsplace.co.uk and get those tickets there. And you can follow me anywhere online at Matt Knost, MATTKNOST.
Yeah, you can follow me at The Rocha Says. And please, if you'd like, please come subscribe to my YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/John Rocha Says. I'd really appreciate it. Great content coming up there. So much stuff going on over the next few weeks as well. So thank you so much for everyone who's come aboard already. And thank you all so much for, as Matt said, supporting the show. And we'll have, I know we're not on camera at this moment, but we're having meetings and we're trying to figure out where our next stop is.
Yeah.
But it is happening very soon.
Yeah.
Just be aware of that. Just know that's coming.
Yeah, right now we have 3, potentially 4 options on the table.
Yeah.
And
So
they're all legitimate. It just comes down to, okay, what is the most advantageous for you listening and for us to do it? So that way we can keep delivering all the stuff that you want to see and hear and listen to, and hopefully get more, video going for all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're working on a bunch of stuff. And the plug, I forgot to plug.
Okay.
If anybody wants to listen to, I've got a new podcast called Embrace the Hate. Just search for Embrace the Hate anywhere you get podcasts. You'll be able to find us. And if there's more than one, I don't believe there is, but we got a hammer and sickle. Looks like the old Soviet flag. You can't miss it. So please go check out Embrace the Hate. We thoroughly appreciate it.
There you go. All right. Well, that's everything we got for you this week on the Top 10 Show.